What up? It's me, Wall Street, back again. And thank you all for tuning in. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen to me and my spiel on basketball. And today I'm doing another season recap for the 2024-25 NBA season. And today I want to talk about the San Antonio Spurs, who had a fairly up and down season, to say the least, with injuries all over the board. And really just injuries. Injuries really made, things get crazy. But they did pull off a major trade mid-season to acquire De'Aaron Fox, which was a big move for their future. So this team, honestly, in my opinion, probably has one of the brightest futures in the NBA, right? So let's take it from the top. The team finished this season outside of the playoff race. They did not qualify for the play-in tournament either. They finished in the 12th spot, the 13th spot in the Western Conference. Can't count. At 34-48. That's a win percentage of 41.5%. They did pretty good at home, 20-20 at home, so an even 500 record. It was the road where they really struggled, 13-27. So they honestly, in my opinion, coming into the season, I thought that they had a chance to make the play-in and even the playoffs, just because of how good Victor Wembanyama was last season. I imagined that he was going to improve, and even though he started off the season kind of slow, he did show some improvement throughout the season. The guy's just incredible. We've never seen anything really like this in the league. We've seen guys that are tall, super tall, right? He takes tall to another level, right? But with let's talk like a guy like Yao Ming. It was different because Yao Ming wasn't playing the same way that Victor's playing. Victor can literally play like a point guard, and he's like 7'5". So it's incredible. He could be the greatest player of all time when it's all said and done if he continues to develop all of his skills like he's done so far, right? He's super young. He's got so much more to learn, and he's already so good. So the sky is really the limit for him. The sky's really the limit. He's only 21 years old. So obviously he went down mid-season with the deep vein thrombosis. That, was scary. Obviously that's something that affected Damian Lillard too. This blood clot issue is, seemingly plaguing a lot of the NBA stars. So hoping that they get well soon. Victor did have surgery on this in March. It was in his right shoulder. And they said after surgery he was feeling fine. Haven't really seen many updates yet. That was late March 27th to be exact. And then De'Aaron Fox also went down shortly after being acquired by the team. He had season-ending surgery to repair tendon damage in his left pinky. But at that point, it was like, Victor's out. If De'Aaron Fox needs some time to recover and we need to get him what he needs, let's do it. We'll have a lottery pick. We'll be good. We'll build for the future. But this team, the outlook for this team is crazy. They have so many good young players. De'Aaron Fox, obviously, he's 27 years old. He's a little bit older on this team of, youngsters, if you will. But he's under contract for next season. I would imagine he's probably going to sign an extension. Devin Vassell, 24 years old. He's under contract until the summer of 2029. You have Keldon Johnson, who's under contract until the summer of 27. Harrison Barnes under contract for next season. You got Wemby under contract until 2027. He's still on his rookie deal, by the way, so that's a steal. Chris Paul is going to be a free agent. He's going to be 40 years old here pretty soon. I'm not sure what his plan is going to be. I think it would be great for him to re-sign and just get a full season with Wemby, but, we'll see what happens. And then you have Stephon Castle, 20 years old, is obviously under contract for a couple more years on his rookie deal. He'll be a restricted free agent in the summer of 2028. And then we have Jeremy Sohan, who's under contract for next season as well. That is the last season of his rookie deal. And then they have just some other good young players that have just found their way in the mix. Malachi Branham, Julian Champagnie, big fan of Julian Champagnie, and Justin Champagnie, who's on the Wizards. Champagnie twins are doing things no one would have thought, and they're absolutely crushing it. So I'm super proud of both of them. Blake Wesley, also a good young player on the team. He's only 22. They got Charles Bassey, Sandro Mamouche Gavelli. I'm probably mispronouncing that. They call him Mamu for short. So there's a lot of good players on this team, man. I'm really, really a big fan of what they've put together here. Obviously, another big question is Greg Popovich. Is he going to come back? He obviously missed all of the season, basically. I'm not even sure if he coached at all in the beginning, but I think he might have missed the entire season. He had a stroke, I believe, in November, and in February it was announced he wasn't going to come back for the rest of the season. I do believe he had contact with some of the players throughout, but just a real sad story. I love Greg Popovich, probably the best coach we've seen in NBA history, in my opinion. Just regular season, postseason combined, just the way he goes about his business and deals with his players. He's a very unique and special guy in the NBA. So Mitch Johnson took over. He's been with the Spurs organization for like almost 10 years. He was with the Austin Spurs, which is the G League affiliate, and then was an assistant with the Spurs from 2019 until now, and then served as acting head coach for the entire season. And I think he did a decent job. Like I said, I think this team was going to be very much so in the play-in tournament, at least if they kind of stayed healthy and everything turned out the way it was supposed to. So we'll see what happens, man. I mean, I'm not really sure what's going to come about next season. I think the draft is going to be important for them. They hold Atlanta's pick, so we'll see where that ends up. I'm recording this before the play-in is finished, so if Atlanta is outside the playoffs and they get bounced by the Miami Heat, the Spurs will have 2 lottery picks. So that'll be great. Right now, the Spurs are projected to pick 8th overall. They have a 6% chance to get the number 1 overall pick. So there's a likelihood that the Spurs could wind up with Cooper Flag. Atlanta got the number 1 pick last year as the 10th worst team. They had the 10th best odds to get the number 1 pick at 3%. So it's going to be super interesting. I really think the Spurs are going to build something special here. And just the players they have already, like I said, are great. And they have picks coming in as well. They have picks from Atlanta coming in from the DeJounte Murray trade. I believe their 2027 pick is going out to Sacramento. I think that's from the Harrison Barnes trade or something like that. So, but the fact that they might get into the playoffs next year, who knows what's going to happen with Atlanta. They seem like they're kind of falling apart at the seams. So there's a possibility that Atlanta doesn't make the playoffs next season. Spurs do, and then they still have a lottery pick, right? Spurs have just been going crazy. And, we obviously know they traded the 8th pick in this past year's draft, which wound up being Rob Dillingham, to the Timberwolves to get picks, I believe, in like 2030. It's like far down the line, right? I thought, with hindsight 2020 now, obviously, they could have really hit this draft out of the park. I mean, Stephon Castle clearly looks like the rookie of the year. We'll just have to see who actually gets named rookie of the year, but I think he's probably going to be the winner. I think it would have been crazy if they had kept that 8th pick, and at number 8 they took Modest Buzelis, and they had Stephon Castle and Modest Buzelis on the team. That would have been crazy. I think they would have been set up for so much success. Like this team, honestly, depending on what they do in the draft, the way the team's built, the front office, the coaching, everybody is just top notch. I genuinely think this team could have a big jump next season. Like they could go from being outside the playoffs to being like a top 5 or top 4 playoff team in the West. I genuinely believe that. Obviously, a lot of things are going to have to go right. You're going to have another big jump from Wemby. You're going to have him stay healthy. You're going to need everybody to stay healthy. You're going to need a big jump from Stephon Castle. De'Aaron Fox has to stay healthy. But a full year with De'Aaron, Wemby, Stephon Castle, whatever rookie you pull in this year, like it could be scary. It could be a scary team there, right? And obviously, I think Mitch Johnson could still hold it down. I'm hoping Greg Popovich comes back and he's able to coach the team. But who knows, man? Who knows? But team's looking great. Like I said, Wemby only played 46 games, 3.8 blocks per game. Would have led the league in blocks if he, was eligible to be included in that conversation. But you have to play a certain amount of games, obviously. And De'Aaron Fox, in the short time he was there, putting up like 20 points a game. So very solid team they have here. And they're still young. Like I said, De'Aaron Fox is 27 years old. Chris Paul's obviously 40, but he's not guaranteed to come back next season. So we'll see what happens there. But, man, The Spurs are exciting, and I feel like they typically have very little downtime from being like a very good team, a playoff team, to when, you know, they're not, right? Like when they had Tony Parker and Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili, like they were making the playoffs for like 15 to 20 straight years. I don't know the exact number, but like they were always in the conversation. It didn't matter who they were playing, what the other teams in the conference looked like. It did not matter. They were always contending for a championship. It did not matter where they finished. So big fan of the Spurs and the Spurs organization. If you're a Spurs fan, please leave some comments down below. Want to know your thoughts on the season, your thoughts on the future. What do you think should happen with the draft? What do you think they should do with this offseason in terms of free agency? Want to know your thoughts. So please leave some comments down below. Let me know what it is and what's up. And we'll link, we'll build, we'll talk, we'll do all that. But that's all I got, guys. I'm going to check you later. Stay safe, stay humble, stay blessed, stay up. Handle business, stand on business. Peace out.